What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video. Today we'll be ranking the submachine guns from best to worst, or from worst to best actually. I'm going to start out with the worst submachine guns and we'll slowly move our way up to what is the best SMG in the game as of right now. So if you're looking for what might suit you, what's the best SMG in the game, this is the right video. Also, for preferred builds, I will leave the ones that I have on my channel down in the description. There's I think 1 or 2 submachine guns that I have not made a gun guide video with yet, so those are not in the description, but for the ones that I do, they'll be down in the description if you want to check them out. Let's get right into it. The first one is the Uzi, which is actually, I'm gonna be completely honest, all the submachine guns in this game are not garbage. So it's kind of hard to pick a worst one. But the Uzi, for me personally, was definitely the worst one. The 708 rate of fire for an Uzi is quite slow. The recoil was very average, and the time to kill is actually kind of bad. You almost want to hip fire only with this gun so it works up close, but there's just submachine guns that can do everything basically better than the Uzi can. You can still do great damage with this gun, it just doesn't do as much damage as some of the other submachine guns. Number 8, and this is a gun that I only started liking once I had the right attachments for it unlocked, which I also made a video about. But it's the MP7. The MP7 has a 950 rate of fire, which is actually quite high, and the time to kill is great. With the right attachments, you can do some decent recoil patterns on it as well, so you can kind of control it. However, the time to kill from above, I would say 20 to 30 meters already decreases so much with this gun that it's just not really the greatest submachine gun to use. It's alright, it can get kills. There's just a lot of better submachine guns that can kill up close faster, but also from the medium to long range faster. And we have number 7, which is in some way, I would say, underrated gun. The Vityaz. I'm just gonna pronounce like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Vityaz. It has a 700 rate of fire and almost plays a bit more like an assault rifle, like a close range assault rifle with a pretty decent recoil pattern. It's got quite low recoil and an okay time to kill. It just doesn't excel at anything that other guns can do. Like for example, for range you have the SMG 45, which is definitely a better option. For like the mid-range you have the P90 for example, and the Bison that do really good. And up close this gun doesn't shine. But for like a submachine gun, definitely a very versatile option to use. Number 6, we have the MP5, and this is a gun with a absolute garbage range, I would say. The time to kill drops really quickly, just like with the MP7. However, the close range time to kill is really good, and with some of the attachment builds you have with the MP5, you almost have a little bit more option. And there's a certain build on this gun that I personally really like, which is also down in the description, and it's definitely what I think a better up close range submachine gun. Almost one of the best close range submachine guns in the entire game, maybe besides the Vector. So MP5 deserves a solid 6th place. Number 5 is what I think is one of the most underrated weapons in the game. It's the P90 with a almost 900 rate of fire, a pretty decent range. The damage is quite good, the hip fire is quite good, the recoil is quite low, so you can actually go for mid-range targets as well. I was almost tempted to put the P90 a little bit higher, but there's some other guns that are just like a tiny bit better, but definitely P90 is worth a shot if you have not used it yet. And once you unlock the right attachments for it again, it starts to really be beaming at basically any range you're going to be playing with it. Next up, we have the Vector, the 1091 rate of fire weapon in this game. Definitely the best up close range submachine gun in the entire game. You probably have died by this gun quite a lot up close, where it feels like you're dying in literally 1 frame. That is the Vector. The Vector has a great rate of fire with a pretty good range. if you get the recoil control down, but honestly you want to use it within that shotgun range basically, and then it's going to absolutely shine once you get the drum mag on it as well. 70 rounds, which I believe is the highest drum mag out of all the submachine guns. You're going to be flying through the enemy team. You just got to have a really good aggressive playstyle with this gun, and then you're going to be zooming. Great weapon to use. It might be a little bit tricky in the beginning, that's why I didn't place it any higher. I think there's definitely a little bit of a skill ceiling with the Vector, as in the recoil control can be a challenge with the high rate of fire, but also knowing how to position yourself to where the Vector is going to shine is also quite a challenge. So that's why the Vector gets a 4th place. Number 3, and this is definitely a little bit of a personal weakness, it's the Bison, or the PP as you might seen it in other games. It is one of my favorite guns in any type of game that I've played, and again in Delta Force it doesn't disappoint. The Bison with a 64 round capacity and still a really good reload time. It's great for going on flanks, going on kill streaks, and with the low recoil you can still do really good for the mid-range to long-range targets, which is what other submachine guns might quite often miss out on. So when you have a very versatile playstyle and you kind of can use it on basically any map, the Bison is definitely the play for medic. Again, with the 64 round max, it really fits my personal playstyle. Because when I go on flanks, sometimes you want to keep the bullets going. You don't want to reload after spending 30 or 45 rounds, as some of the other weapons do. And with a not really a high rate of fire, it might actually have the lowest rate of fire. It does feel like you can non-stop keep on shooting, and then when you're done shooting, you have a really fast reload time of this weapon, which is actually quite impressive. So that's why I think the Bison definitely deserves that 3rd spot in this list. Next up we have, and this is like quite a debate I feel like that's going on in the community. It's actually the lowest rate of fire weapon in the entire game, with the submachine gun class specifically talking right now. It is the SMG 45. I'm honestly very close to putting this on number 1 spot. You guys can already guess what the number 1 weapon is, the SR3M. Both of these weapons are amazing. But let's specifically talk about the SMG 45. It has the highest range out of all the submachine guns, which you definitely can notice. You can play this gun literally like an assault rifle basically, and like a very good functioning assault rifle as well. It doesn't not just have the low recoil, but it actually does have a good damage range as well, which is noticeable very quickly once you pick up this gun. What I do not completely enjoy with this gun, it's the lower rate of fire. So when you're in close range gunfights, for example, when you miss a bullet, you definitely get punished for it quite quickly. So when you have really good accuracy, this gun is super rewarding. But with the up close range gunfights, which is what I think submachine guns should excel at, the SMG 45 can actually be quite punishing quite quickly once you just start slacking a little bit and you miss a couple of rounds. So that's why I personally thought the SMG 45 would be a great 2nd place weapon, but I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about it. Definitely also a very solid 2nd place, so definitely worth using. And then we have the number 1 gun. I already said it before, the SR3M. 747 rate of fire, actually quite on the high side. Capacity with 45 bullets, which is just perfect. It's just enough for this gun. Extremely low recoil, but what I really like with this gun is you can kind of build it to whatever you like. If you didn't know, you can build a 100% accuracy build on this weapon, which basically means it has one of the best hip fire accuracies out of all the guns. And you can still beam with this gun from mid-range, because the recoil is really good on this weapon as well. So you can, like the submachine gun 45, you can almost play this a bit like an assault rifle. It will definitely be a little bit weaker for the long-range targets, which honestly with the medic submachine gun class you don't even want to go for. So it's slightly less versatile than the submachine gun 45, but within the submachine gun range, like within 0 to let's say 30-35 meters, you're going to be zooming around with this weapon. Very easy handling as well. I think once you pick up this gun, you unlock some attachments for it, you'll instantly start to like it. So the submachine gun, the SR3M, for me deserves the #1 spot as of right now in the game. Let me know what your favorite submachine gun is in the game. That's gonna be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.